This is Geeks Are Wired podcast. We are at Snake River Fandom Con, and I am Bill, and we have the guests this week include...
My name is Savannah Ostler. I'm the writer, actress, and director of Twice the Dream. It's a new movie coming out soon.
My name is Christopher Escalante. I am a voice actor and music composer in films and media. Also working on Twice the Dream with Savannah Ostler.
Hi, faithful listeners. It's Ted. I am not working on Twice the Dream.
Hi, fellow listeners. This is Anthony. Just here. I don't have a dedicated mic, so I may or may not be in this.
My name is Kazuha Oda. I'm a singer of the rock band from Japan called Kazha.
So cool.
And we're going to put everyone's stuff in the show notes. So this is a great podcast.
Yeah!
Absolutely.
So, well, I guess we'll start with you guys.
Okay.
So, about the movie.
Yes.
So you wrote it.
Yes. So it's a family feature film called Twice the Dream. Funny enough, I actually started writing it years ago, and I'm talking years ago. I started writing it when I was 14 in math class, actually, because who listens to math, you know? And
Thanks, school kids.
Yeah.
The nerds. Yeah, you're on a geek podcast.
Hashtag stay in school. So, but it's just a story that just I got so hooked on, and I knew I needed to get that story told in some way, whether it be, you know, through a novel or a movie. And I had always loved movies, and I actually went to film school, and that's where I really turned my story into a screenplay. And after years and years of work and you know, lots of no's and my phone dropping, it finally came to life. And we have such an amazing, we're blessed with such an amazing cast and crew that we were able to get. It was just really just an incredible experience. And my husband was actually the director of photography, so he made everything look good. And I just told people like what to do and point, you know, like, okay, action, you know. But it was amazing and such a wild ride, and I think it's just very affirming to everyone. You know, I want to inspire people to never give up on their dreams, because if I could do it, you could do it too.
Cool. All right, and you did the music for it.
Yeah, so I was hired to do the music for this, and I was actually brought along because I had known Savannah and her husband Steven for quite a while. In sort of a magical turn of events, we just happened to meet about a year and a half ago at just a networking event, and actually the three of us clicked like almost immediately. We found each other, we were talking, you know, we're all about the same age, very like-minded, creative style of people. And it was magic from there. We've worked on a couple projects since then for local business commercials, for a web series, and now we're working on this movie, Twice a Dream, which has been really fun to work on as far as music is concerned, because this movie, without getting too spoilery, it's a movie about music, you know? Without being per se a musical, there are a few musical numbers, because for a quick summation, the movie is about two sisters who want to pursue a life singing music and performing music. So the movie has some songs written for the characters, in like a few punk songs, a pop song. And so before we got to filming, we were actually writing the songs between me and Savannah. Savannah wrote the lyrics, I wrote all of the music, and we got them produced for filming. And we just got those done about early last summer, late spring, when we were getting about ready to film, and it was fun using those. And then this winter, we're going to be working together and producing the orchestral score for it as well.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. And when is it coming out?
We're expecting spring 2019.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Have to look for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, you didn't work on their movie, but you've been doing
Next
music.
movie.
No, not the movie.
Your next soundtrack.
Yeah.
No, she's going to be like the Japanese dub of it, right?
Yeah.
No.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've never done any movies or anime until now. Just we just happen to be a rock band from Japan
Nice.
who's in USA. Touring in USA, and yeah, so we do a lot of comic cons and anime cons, and pretty much all year round we've been touring in USA.
So what was the decision to come to the USA instead of touring Japan? Or...
Do you remember MySpace?
Yes.
When MySpace was big, that was about the first year when we start this band. It was around I think 2008. MySpace was still big, and our first song was how do you call it? Everybody could listen to our demo, and for some reason we got a lot of followers from US and some Europe, country from Europe, and then people started to offer me, to perform at the cons in US. I didn't know the anime or comic scene is this big until then. I didn't know, and they told me, all the con chairs and everybody who was talking to me, they told me, anime is huge in America, and you have to come. And then so we decided to get our own visa on our own, and it's a musical, like a how do you call it, artist visa. Yeah, so it took us like half a year to get ready, but yeah, with the visa and everything. But yeah.
So have you been here ever since then, or?
Ever since, yes.
Wow.
We got our first visa around 2011, and since then we kind of keep going back and forth sometimes. But yeah, conventions keep offering us to perform there. So yeah, but we never been on any animation yet. Yeah.
Yet, yeah.
What's the nice thing about getting to see everybody here and get to talk to people, because there's so many different types of fan events or fandoms going on in here. So have you had a chance to talk to anybody or make some deals? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah?
I've known Lizzo and Warky and some other people.
And Christopher?
Yeah. I don't think I've ever met.
Yeah, we haven't met yet, but I was also brought here by Worky, and I've done a lot of conventions with Liesel. They're amazing people. So yes, it's nice to finally meet you.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you can talk later and
Yes.
work something out. That's always fun. So
Networking.
Yeah.
and that's the nice thing about small cons like this. What have you guys been thinking about this con? Has it been fun?
I very much prefer smaller cons over large cons. I only try and do maybe one large con a year, like ASIN or Anime Expo in Illinois or LA, just because, not to say that they're oversaturated, it's just being around a lot of people can sometimes be a lot for some people. You don't get to know very many of the other guests or attendees. You don't get a chance to talk to the people you want to just because there are so many there. So smaller conventions like this are a lot more enjoyable for me personally, with getting to know some of the people here, some of the fans who come, the convention heads themselves, and other guests like everyone around here.
Yeah. I had a question. I don't remember what it was though now.
Yeah.
Well, the answer is blue.
Blue?
Hello.
I thought it was red.
But yeah, this con has been fantastic. I like the small. I think I'm like you, Chris. I prefer the smaller environments where you really get to know people and talk to people, and don't feel like, I don't want to say sardines, but sometimes if they're really packed, like at Comic-Con in San Diego.
Because you can go to those bigger conventions for the experience of being completely immersed in. There are so many people who share this love of the fandoms for me, whether it's anime, video games, and that's the great thing about those big conventions. You've got so many people you can meet, so many different ways to get merchandise, meet guests. It's just on a much larger scale. But I feel like the trade-off is you don't have the experience to get to know people as personally as you do at smaller conventions.
Yeah, no, networking when it's a huge con is just hard. There's just too many people. You can't really spend more than 2 or 3 minutes with people. I'd imagine, at least. I haven't been to one myself, but I thought about going to FanX. Didn't quite make it there, but
Plus, at smaller conventions, if a fan finds something they like that they weren't expecting to, since it's a small convention, they just freak out and there's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing! I can't believe it. I had one girl come up to me. I voice act a character in a series of dating simulator games on Steam called the Seduce Me Otome series. Yeah. And despite the name, it is teen appropriate, so I apologize for any
The last dating sim I played was Doki Doki.
Yeah, Doki Doki Literature Club.
No, it was not really a dating sim.
Such a happy game, isn't it?
Yeah, right?
Anyway, so I meet this girl, and she's come by the booth every day so far because she loves this game I'm in that I'm sure she didn't expect would appear at a smaller convention like this because, it's a small indie game. It did somewhat well on Steam and on mobile devices, but just the fact that wait, this is here? I never thought this would happen, and she's been freaking out, and it's just so awesome to see people get that happy about something they love.
Yeah, no,
whether it's music, games, fandom of any kind, really.
That's just so awesome about, about connecting to, what would be strangers, but you can feel like you can actually really connect with them and talk to them because you're fans of, the same show or movies or books or video games. Like, that is a really powerful thing. Music, that's really powerful.
I think it's extra helpful here because here in Idaho we're kind of isolated and there's a lot of overt culture that's just not very nerd friendly or geek friendly, and so to have something like this to let you know that you have people is actually a pretty nice thing. So even if you don't really fit any of the niches, it's still nice to see what's going on. So I was reading your bio last night, and it said you worked in Brazil. You started in Brazil, or?
No. When I was a kid, I used to be in Brazil, live in Brazil with my parents for like 7.5 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how many languages do you speak?
Right now only 2.
Just the 2?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Just the 2. That's more than I speak.
I speak 2 languages as well, although one of them is a made-up language from our 2nd grade class called Bubakuk. And I still remember it for some reason.
Well, the common joke is, you call someone that speaks 2 languages bilingual, 3 is trilingual, anything above that's a polyglot, but someone who speaks only 1 language is called American. So.
I've never heard of that. That's actually awesome.
Yeah. So where are you filming?
The movie?
The movie,
Twice
yeah.
the Dream?
Uh-huh.
So we actually are in post-production right now, so deep into the editing process. We filmed in and around Provo and Salt Lake City, Utah.
Okay.
That's where I'm from, so pulled a lot of favors, and there was this cool music venue called the Velour. So we shot all the concert scenes there.
So I've heard that Utah is actually a pretty good place for film in general. Is there a lot of industry and support there?
I really feel like the film industry in Utah has been growing so much, even since the past 10 years. I actually moved to Los Angeles 8 years ago, and then I just moved back to Utah a year ago, and just because I came to the realization that LA was just so overly saturated with filmmakers, and especially with the big studios, they weren't as indie film friendly, and Utah, in my opinion, has been a lot more indie film friendly, where, LA, we were just like, indie filmmakers go away,
So do you think the fact that Disney is basically buying every movie studio out there, and they'll all just be Disney at some point, do you think that helps or hurts the indie scene? What do you think of? Or maybe there's no effect. I don't know.
That's a really interesting question. I don't know if it would hurt or help us per se. I think, if Disney were all of a sudden wanting to buy indie films, now that would help us too. Like, if they're buying all these studios and films, and they, maybe that could help us. Like, maybe they're expanding their brand and market, and maybe, like, for instance, there's Fox has a Fox Searchlight Pictures, which it's their smaller distribution under the same Fox umbrella that picks up indie pictures like Napoleon Dynamite. Now, if not ABC. Well, technically yes, ABC. But if Disney/Marvel/Star Wars, everything. If Disney were to do that, that would totally help us. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. But, whatever we think doesn't matter anyway, because once Disney completes the circle, then we're all just going to be enslaved under them anyway. No, but I think it, I wonder,
I, for
actually.
one, welcome our new Disney overlords.
Yeah.
If they're listening now,
I am
Mr. Disney.
proudly wearing my Mickey ears.
By Geeks Are Wired.
No, so, I'm actually not sure from a business perspective if it hurts or helps. I mean, if a major company were to consolidate every major release, I could see that being a potential problem, but that doesn't seem like something that Disney itself as a goal would do. If any sort of large company were to try and completely consolidate the industry, that would obviously be a problem.
Right.
But
well, so my thought is that, making a movie is a risky endeavor. You've got millions of dollars tied up into this piece of art, right? And so you can only have so much risk out at any given time, right? So if we're bundled under one company and they can only really put out so much at a time without overextending themselves and doing that, but spreading the risk seems like a more equitable or a better thing to do, a more better thing to do.
Yeah.
So my concern just was that if Disney isn't, has all this out there, they're not going to be willing to go for as many different things because they're, you'd be afraid of not making money.
And they have bought small groups before. There was a YouTuber actually from Pocatello, Shay Carl, and
yep.
so they bought their rights. He helped him out, did all the stuff, did their shows, and he took his money, finished up what he was done, and yeah, it was.
That is awesome. OMG.
Yeah, so there is still, yeah, it can happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. See, dreams come true. That's what we're all about.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you knew this, but our movie Twice a Dream is about a dream. So, twice.
And that dream possibly coming true.
Yes, exactly.
I suggested a title change to having the same dream once again, but they weren't a fan.
I mean, I like it. It doesn't really have the same hook,
I know. What about one time I dreamed this thing, and then the next night I dreamed it again?
That's even better.
That's
longer.
called speak to your local psychiatrist or therapist.
Yeah, dreams can also be nightmares, right?
That's true. I think that's, you have to decide for yourself. Am I going to let my dreams be just dreams? Or am I going to really live them? To me, an unlived dream can be a nightmare. That's kind of weird and dark, but...
And writing the music for the movie was fun, too, because we're working in genres that are unfamiliar to me. Most of my background is writing music for film score, indie games, even anime-style games. So I've had my fair share of writing Japanese rock-style songs and J-rock and J-pop and stuff. I actually just helped someone produce a cover of a BTS K-pop song not too long ago. But funnily enough, of all of the genres, American pop is the one I'm the least familiar with, so that was a fun learning experience.
Welcome to American pop music.
I'm I should know this, probably.
So what are your favorite bands, or what do you consider influences?
Well, my favorite bands and my influences are completely different.
Sure.
Because I grew up I was a band kid all through school. I played the tuba in the band and trombone and stuff. So all growing up, I was very into two genres of music. Ska music and a cappella music, which I think it was a cappella first. I saw an a cappella group and someone beatboxing when I was about 10 years old in 1999, and I was like, I want to learn how to do that, beatboxing, vocal percussion, which I haven't exactly used a lot in my career, but it's a lot of fun to do, just like that. But I haven't used that in a film or video game score very much yet. But that led to me doing choir, orchestra, band, and being a band kid, I fell in love with ska music, which most people nowadays, ska is essentially a mix between more faster reggae, calypso, and punk rock. So I was huge fans of Real Big Fish, Less Than Jake, Suburban Legends. And so those are the bands I would say are like my favorite bands. But my biggest influences come from other artistic bands like obviously Ben Folds. I listened to a lot of pop punk in high school as well, which led to me learning how to produce that genre. A lot of J-rock from my love of anime and video games. And of course I studied film scoring in college, so I learned a lot about film scores and composers for films and video games, so including Nobuo Uematsu and like Yoko Kanno from Japan, and then Hans Zimmer and Danny Elfman here from the US, and it's just so much good music out there.
So, and what about you? What bands or music do you like, and what do you consider influences onto your band?
A lot of classic rock from America, mainly.
Yeah, I remember last night you played too. You played Guns N' Roses.
Yeah,
and,
I love Guns N' Roses.
and,
My bandmates also loves like Alice in Chains, or we love American rock, classic
Now
rock.
we're talking.
Nice.
Yeah.
So do you have also Japanese bands that you?
Oh yeah, ex-Japan, and yeah, there are a lot of artists we love, but
So personally, I haven't had a lot of experience with J-rock or anything like that, but I'm a big fan of Fooly Cooly, which is an anime series. Yeah.
Oh.
And the Pillows did their score.
Oh, I actually never heard of
You've
their
never heard of the
music.
Pillows, because your music sounds similar to me.
Really?
To them, like the guitar style is similar.
Oh, wow.
So I was just wondering if there was some sort of it, but it sounds like you've never heard of.
No, never.
You gotta
So-
pronounce it Furikuri.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fooly Cooly.
Have you ever heard or listened to Baby Metal? I think Baby Metal's from there too.
Yes, as Japanese, we kind of, how do you call it? For us, Baby Metal is more on the idol group side,
Okay.
Their bands are great. I mean, all the, studio musicians, they're great, but, we take it as more of a teenage idol group, so...
Yeah, so certainly not
Yeah.
viewed as like a rock band
No,
or
we
something.
don't see it as, rock or metal bands, no.
Rob Zombie had nothing but good things to say about them. So. So, what has been your favorite venue to play?
Venue.
The answer's Pocatello.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No, it's not. Ted,
No,
come on.
but seriously.
No.
Well, there's a lot, but for some reason we go to Phoenix, Arizona so many times, like every year, and yeah, we love Phoenix too. Yeah.
Did you go during the summertime or not?
We usually go summertime.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, hot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we gained Anna. Say hi, Anna.
All right.
A new player has
Hi.
arrived.
Yeah, I came a little bit late than everybody else, but I am here today.
She was building a mutant bear with 2 heads.
Yes, I made myself a Franken stuffy,
Aww.
and it's been pretty cute. So I'm gonna show everybody what it looks like, and we'll probably post it in the show notes on this as well. But
Yes.
oh
my
I
gosh.
have
Oh
it's
my.
cute. It's 2-headed. It's
That
a
is
bunny
pretty cute.
and a teddy bear.
Yeah, so I guess
It has
for
a giant heart.
your listeners at home, this is a bit of a science experiment gone right.
Looks like a monkey arm.
I like the heart though. That's
the
a nice
heart
addition.
is a nice touch for sure.
Mhm.
Now that is something you cannot get at Build-A-Bear. Priceless.
Exactly. It's so unique, and it's really cute still. I mean, it still kind of reminds me of like how that lady in the movie Igor, like she's kind of put together like this. She has kind of a smaller head and bigger body.
Yes.
Are you gonna make one of those, Savannah?
I definitely want to. I
Goodness.
want to make I don't know what I want to make, but something really cute.
No, I think they pretty much ran out of most of the material.
Aw.
No.
You're gonna have to come back next.
Wait, what was the Darth Vader?
No! The Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Do anyone remember ytmnd.com or any of those old meme sites from the early 2000s? There was like someone putting together Valentine's jokes and stuff like, please, will you be my Valentine? Please don't say. Then it plays the audio clip. No! From Star Wars. Like, oh my gosh. Meme culture in the 2000s before anyone even knew the word meme. That
They're
takes
like,
me back.
what's a meme?
Yeah,
What's a meme?
About that time, I was still on dial-up, so couldn't really load any of that.
Yeah.
So.
No, places like you'rethemannowdog.com or
Board.com.
Or stupidvideos.com. That was before YouTube was a thing.
Yeah. I wonder if that's where YouTube kind of got
Got an
its
idea?
inspiration. But
I mean, it is what it is. It was a website where you could upload your own videos.
Yeah.
You know? And now it's, they're going to buy out Disney, I hear. No.
maybe someday. You never know. YouTube
PewDiePie will take over.
Oh, jeez. YouTube acquires Disney.
So, in your off time, what do you like to do?
I love bowling.
Bowling.
Really?
Yes, I do it a little too serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to go with the bumpers on, you know, to
Oh.
hold the gutters. I got 3 strikes that way last time.
Oh.
So are you good at bowling? Have you bowled a 300?
300 not yet, but I can at least do like 240, 230, 240 sometimes.
Holy cow!
I've gotten like just over 200, but that's awesome.
I think my high is like 180 or something.
Yeah.
I've gotten to
I can't do
98.
Yes, I'm very excited if I
True
break
story.
100. Like
Yes,
break 100,
same,
it's
yeah.
like it's been a
Yeah.
good day. Yeah.
If whenever I break 100, it's like, guys, look what I did.
But
Everyone pay attention.
to be fair, I usually go to the bowling alley for karaoke. So.
Oh.
So do you spend time with the band out like when you're not touring?
All
or
the time,
do you...
yes. We live together right
Oh,
now,
okay.
you know, because we have to travel
Yeah,
together.
you're a true rock band.
Yeah.
You have to live together too.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Because I've heard of some like famous groups and like duos, even like Penn and Teller,
Mm-hmm.
do not spend any time together when they're not working, and so
yeah.
I'm always interested to see like when you're with them all the time. You either have to be like best friends, or you've got to like at least be able to tolerate them and just know that like you're not gonna go out there. So I think that's that dynamic is interesting to me because I'm sure my wife Hannah would like to punch me sometimes. So it's good right now because I would just got back from a programming conference. So and then we've been doing this, so she hasn't had time for me to annoy her yet. So.
Do you guys do much or spend much time together besides working on the? Well, I guess we can question.
Actually, yeah, we do spend a lot of time together. You guys were just at our place last week?
Yeah,
Watch
so
a lot of movies, hang out.
So beside working with both Savannah and her husband Steven on their projects, we also just hang out a lot actually, because we only live about 20 minutes away from each other. We found out, and so
we found out.
The first time we hung out was sort of like a mini rap party because we had finished filming the movie. And we had just a couple of key members of the crew there. And then after that, it was more just like, do you want to come over again? And do you want to just hang out? Also, I need to go over to your place more because I love your fur babies. They have these 2 little adorable, like, mixed chihuahuas. One of them is Princess, the other's Pongo. If you go to my Twitter right now, actually, my profile picture is me posing with Pongo. It's this little chihuahua who looks terrified because, you know, that's what chihuahuas do. He's just there like... But like,
to be fair,
they're so cute.
To be fair, Pongo always looks a little derpy looking in pictures. So
also, I'm a 6'2", 260-pound man to this like tiny 6-inch tall puppy of a dog. So I'm just like, hello, little creature. It's just like.
They love him. They love you, Chris. It's so adorable.
I love them.
Yeah, so you
My
got
goodness.
yeah. And of course I spend a lot of time with my husband. I mean, we live together. So
I would imagine so. Do you like working with him, or do you two not see each other out of work?
Well, actually, I love that we work together, and it's really funny because we can just be like husband and wife for like, you know, 1 minute, and then all of a sudden we switch into work mode. Like, oh babe, how about this scene? We're doing this. Yes, good idea. By the way, for dinner tonight, blah blah blah. Oh, by the way, did you pick up some toilet paper? Yes, but remember, I need to cut this scene. Like it's kind of just like so, you know. Natural. I'm like, how this isn't normal, how do other people do it?
Yeah, like I love seeing them interact both in and outside of work, because he's not only a supportive husband, he like wants to push your project as far as it can go. Like you said earlier, you've been writing this since you were just in junior high at 14 years old, so both he and your friends who have been working on the film just want to push it to the highest potential it can, because it has that potential to be really awesome. So he's like, babe, what do we think about doing this? What do you think about doing this? What if we do this? It's more than just supporting your dream. It's pushing it to as high as he believes that it can go, because he supports you and loves you, and he's looking over at us right now. He's like, yeah, I do.
Aww. Yeah, I really lucked out. He's such a sweetheart.
Yeah, he was circling us creepily with the camera with his phone out earlier.
Don't worry, he's only interested in her. Yeah.
That'd be him.
I thought he wanted like hot shots of the back of my head, because it's pretty amazing. I gotta say, for a head, it's pretty nicely shaped. It's my best feature is the back of my head. Really,
I've also enjoyed working. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I've been told that a lot. That they love to see me walking away.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. It's one of those like I hate when you leave, but I love seeing you go situations.
Exactly. Yeah.
But no, I love working with both of them, because I'm actually working with both of them on different projects as well. Earlier last year, I think it was, we were filming a drama series that we're working on right now called Amarog. It should be coming to Amazon Prime before the end of the year, and that's a very dark, supernatural thriller drama series. So on the one hand, I'm working with Steven on, all right, we're making this dark music, this intense stuff, we're doing some fun stuff. Then I go to his wife and be like, all right, we're making a teen pop film.
We're making
it's
a happy film.
And it's so much fun.
And it's fun.
We love making that joke because one of the songs in the movie is literally called Fun. So we're all like, hey, you think this is fun? Just like staring at each other intently and be like, you get it? And like everyone else in the crew is like, yes, we get it.
It's like, yes, you've said it like 5 times today.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Ted style joke right there.
Yeah,
like
it really is.
Yeah.
Fun.
My coworkers are happy when I get a new joke for the first day, but then by the 3rd week, they're sick of that same joke.
It's not the first day. It's like 5 minutes.
What? That's fair. That's fair.
It's probably more realistic.
He comes to you later and be like, did I tell you that? Yes.
Oh, I don't give him that opportunity. I just tell it again. We get in the elevator, and if the doors stay open too long, it starts dinging. Bing, 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 bing. And I'm like, this is my favorite techno song. And they're like, it's been 4 years. Stop telling that joke. I'm like, it's still funny to me.
Yeah. As long as you're having fun.
This is my favorite techno song. Any electronic noise that you hear, my favorite joke.
You know, yeah,
I don't care.
No one really gets too annoyed at me. Wow, I don't know where that squeak came from. I went to bed at 3 a.m. last night, so no one really gets too annoyed at me when like blinker's going and I just start beatboxing to it, because they're just like, oh, interesting. I could do that in an elevator.
So I was thinking you were talking about not a lot of music with beatboxing or whatnot. Have you heard of the Carolina Chocolate Drops?
No, I haven't, actually.
So a lot of the beatboxing I hear is always in like rap and R&B type music, but they actually play a banjo and a violin, and the lady sings. But all their percussion is beatbox. It's all voice. You should check it out there.
Yeah, I kind of like hybrid groups like that. Obviously, I've heard it the most in different a cappella groups. Big influences for me were Inside Out a cappella, rockapella, groups like that, and modernly Pentatonics and other fun groups.
Yeah, I enjoy Pentatonics.
I think a lot of people remember it was this reggae musician who also had a very Jewish rabbi look named Madis Yahu, and he also beatboxed in his stuff. So, you know, he's doing this reggae in a really fun, like, kind of slow jam reggae rhythm. I don't know, is anyone heard of Madis Yahu? Yeah, I think he's more of an obscure... Oh, our host has! Yay! I'm not alone on this!
Our host!
Yeah, no, it's not a lot, but still, yes.
All right, I'm not alone on
No,
this.
you're
I'm
not.
not crazy, I swear.
Is that on your happy playlist?
I might have to double check that, but maybe. I have this thing. It's like an Optimism Extreme playlist. So if I'm like happy or sad or really any mood, I'm like, I want to raise my happiness level because, you know, I'm ridiculously optimistic, always happy, and I still have not found the roof.
See, I just listen to The Forces of Evil
Ah.
because their music is super happy and upbeat, but their lyrics are just so depressing and dark. Yeah, it's
I have a few of those. It's like,
It's a fun mix. It's essentially like if the show Happy Tree Friends was a band, you know. For anyone who gets that reference, congratulations. For anyone who doesn't get that reference, don't look it up.
I suggest look it up.
Savannah, you're making a family film. Don't try and corrupt the audience.
Yeah, but even though we made a family film, you kind of know my sense of humor too.
It's true. There was a lot of not family film humor behind the camera, but
Because it's all about the fun.
it's all about the fun. Anyway.
So, do you think there's a place for beatboxing in your music? Do you want to do
Like
a
good
collaboration
speed-
there?
Yeah.
Like, do you ever do like a speed metal thing with the double pedal?
Oh yeah.
So cool.
Cool.
Hopefully I'm not blowing out the audio. We've got the
good.
mic mufflers on them.
Wow. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, definitely. See,
Too much
Things are
coolness
happening.
for the audio.
Goodness.
Exactly.
So much fun.
You are on it. You are on it.
Do you think the audience is sick of us hearing us say fun yet?
Well, is this the Fandom Con?
Yeah. This is Snake River Fandom Con.
It is.
Not Fandom Con.
It
and
is.
certainly not that other word that we're not going to say. Or we'll get
I love
sued.
it.
You mean cheese?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I said it.
Queso.
Queso.
I think he's talking about comic books. I've had a really hard time every time I say comic anything. Like Bill is like correcting me, even when we're not on the podcast. I'm like Snake River Con, and he's like, no,
Stop it.
it's the Fandom Con.
I remember I was talking to someone and they legitimately didn't know the first word in Comic Con was comic. So they're like, yeah, so what does the word Comic Con mean? Just like saying it without the thing. I'm like, well, yeah, it's a comic convention. And they're like, oh, wait, is that one word or two words? Comic Con. I'm like, yeah, 2 words, Comic Con. And like, oh, it's about comics. It's like
Comic-Con.
Okay. You learn something new.
That is fantastic.
I think popular culture, like people who don't go to these things, like you see a lot of the people cosplaying, you see a lot of the panels that are going on, and so people don't really think about like the comic books that are for sale. Like I went to Rose City earlier this year, and my brother is a giant Spider-Man fan. He just loves Spider-Man, and he's trying to finish this collection of every comic book with Spider-Man in it. He says he has about 180 comics to go.
Oh man.
So yeah, he's got a huge collection of comics that he's been getting forever, and like at a certain point he's like, I'm just gonna ditch you and go look at comics. And I didn't see him for like 6 hours because he was just digging through the stacks, because it's a really great place for people to go if they want comics.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's kind of interesting that people go to these things for different reasons. And so I mean, and even here we do have at least one comic, our local comic book store, Captain Bingles is here. So
and for those who are into comics, it's so much fun for them. You mentioned the Spider-Man comic collector, a friend of yours.
Right.
It reminds me of, actually, he's a video game composer. He's a music composer and producer named Tommy Tallarico. Like, he wrote the music for Earthworm Jim. He organized the Video Games Live music tour. And one would assume, you know, he's very successful. He has his hobbies. He's a big nerd. He legitimately has a room dedicated to Spider-Man in his house, and he shows it off on YouTube. You can find this on YouTube, where he's got like life-size statues, a copy of every single Spider-Man comic ever made, like Spider-Man rugs, furniture, all that, and that's just like his indulgence, you know?
That's
so
awesome.
It's fun when you're able to pursue your passion like that in that sort of freedom, you know? And I've met him a couple times. He's a cool dude.
Geeks are cool.
Geeks are cool and hot and awesome, and yeah.
well, we
Worth
basically
marrying.
we run the world now, so
Pretty much.
That's very true.
It's kind of a strange dynamic because I feel like even when I was in high school back in the 90s, like we were still kind of marginalized and minimized.
Oh, yeah.
And now I see the kind of people that do the things that I do. Because like in grade school, like literally a good night of fun was us going into our basement and programming in BASIC. Like, you know, just doing
I love it.
like just programming for fun. And like, I mean, people harass us all the time, but we just did what we liked to do. And now, you know, we're all hugely successful. Well, I'm not, but my other friends are. Like as far as in the making their passion, the thing that they enjoyed growing
Yeah.
up, into a career and making a real living out of it. And
That's
like I
what
said,
life's all about.
I kind of had some fears and was afraid of math and like I had
Aren't we all?
Well, you know what? Math gets a bad rap because a lot of times it's taught as memorization. And I could go on about that for a long time, but if you truly like are taught how the number system works, math is so much easier. But we just don't understand numbers here, which is sad.
Yeah.
I hear that math also helps with script writing.
Exactly. I do have math to thank for that inspiration.
So yeah, that's true. But yeah, I actually forgot where I was going with this. So.
Math will do that to you,
Yeah.
I tell you.
But so yeah, okay, yeah, geeks rule the world. So but like in the last 15 years, I've seen people who do the things that I like to do are way more in popular culture and we kind of drive our modern society today. So I think if you're interested in weird esoteric things, like don't be afraid to come out and say that you love playing with electronics or you like to program or you like to do that stuff, because those are the people that, you know, the next generation that's going to lead us towards the future.
That's for sure. And look at how much like the comic culture and nerd culture have really affected the box the I mean,
It's taking the front stage of the world.
Yes, you know, it's just you know, superhero movies all year round, and it's awesome. And you know, I think the first film that majorly did that was Spider-Man back in 2001.
The Sam Raimi one.
The Sam Raimi one, yeah, that's the one I think that really.
Actually, which came first, the first Spider-Man movie or the first X-Men movie? Because those were about the same time.
Oh, that is a good question.
I don't
I
remember.
thought it was Howard the Duck.
Oh, that one.
I don't
yes,
know
Howard
what movie.
the Duck.
No.
Because, I mean, wasn't that the first movie based off a comic book?
I mean,
except for maybe like
technically.
Superman.
When did that come out?
Superman movies.
Yeah.
That was back in the 80s. I mean, Superman movies besides that.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
this was it Marvel? I don't remember.
Well, yeah, Howard the Duck
was,
is Marvel.
It was technically Marvel, so.
I was going to say, like,
First
you could also
Marvel.
mention other ones that people forget are comic book movies, like Men in Black or
That's true.
Blade series, stuff like that, you know?
Mhm.
I had no idea that Men in Black, that was like a DC comic, right? Men in Black.
Image.
Or Dark Horse? Image, maybe?
Either Image or Dark Horse.
Something like that?
Yeah, Kill Bill was also like one of those too.
It was.
That-
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
That
So
came from a
cool.
series.
Mhm.
Yeah. I forgot who they said it was from. I think it was like Q and U or something, or when I was like listening to who actually made it, but I can't really remember. I'd have to look it up.
So, like, with that in mind, I know this is your podcast. You're asking
by
the
all
questions.
means.
I want to pose a question to everyone else. Since, you know, there's a lot of people who sort of, like, gate the nerd fandom and being a nerd and being a geek. Like, oh, everyone thinks it's cool now. Where was it when I was a kid? Like, what do you think? Is it, like, more of a positive or open impact to opening up to the idea of people being geeks and nerds? Like, sure, it can be considered the cool thing now, but what's wrong with more people getting into the things that you love, you know?
So I think that's an interesting thought there, because you do have to worry that as more people, as things become more popular, some people get aggressive about their guarding of that thing. So you end up with a lot of like gatekeepers and the whole Gamergate type of situation, which I believe just happened with comic books as well, which is problematic. But I think the more people that are included, the more ideas that we get in anything that is worth spending your time with. That ultimately it's a good thing. We just have to make sure and avoid catering to our baser instincts of being upset that you made fun of me for this when I was a kid, and now that I'm an adult and successful at it, all of a sudden you want something to do with it.
All of a sudden it's cool.
Right, right. So we got to take the stance of, oh, you've never read this book. You are in for such an exciting time, right? Instead of, oh, you haven't read that book, what kind of a loser are you, right? And so
and that happens with like the gating of different fandoms, different cultures, like even against gender and other races
right,
too.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
That's absolutely got to stop.
I don't know. What do you think, Anna?
I think it is that way with whether it's video games or comics or even anime. Anime, I think in the past, anime hasn't really been that big a thing until lately. And even now, like, everybody's interested in anime now, but it's a lot better that people are actually coming together and actually kind of displaying what they do like and actually not afraid of kind of sharing this type of culture and everything.
I agree with him, and then both of them, but I personally want more people to get into geek world. I mean, like especially in Japan.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, parents, older people kind of say, oh, anime or comics are for kids, or some people are not open-minded enough. I want more people to take it as just normal, like daily thing that should be around you all the time. I love comics and anime, and I love people who are into it. Yeah, so I want the culture to be much bigger and easier to get into.
Right. And I think the internet has really helped with all of this, because we can, if I'm really into Steven Universe, which I am, I can go online and I can find people who are also into it, and I don't have to worry that I'm a 40-year-old man who's
like, who cares?
Yeah, like nobody knows who I am, and
you do you, boo.
What I what my demographics are. I can just go in and talk to people about that, and I don't care who they are, because I just care about the passion for it and finding out more information and like hearing other people's thoughts about the things. So yeah, absolutely, I think that's great.
Absolutely.
And with that, even a lot of people think geek culture, only comic books, only cartoons or anime or things like that. No, you can be geeky about music. You can be geeky about science. With the idea of geeks
you can be geeky about sports.
Yeah, exactly.
You could be geeky about cosmetics.
There you go. So just what you want to get into.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually had a conversation. I'm very anti-sport. You've said that, and I've always been very, very. I never liked sports. The people who like sports were always mean to me in high school, and I got to be the victim. But
same.
But also, like, when I was watching The Simpsons and then the football game would go over, I wouldn't be able to watch the rest of The Simpsons because football is more important. So like, I used to treat people who do the fantasy football stuff with derision, and I realized recently, like in the last 5 years, I was challenged on that point and realized that I was wrong. Like, even people people get geeky about their own things, and we need to recognize it as such. So, someone is just really into football. I mean, that's awesome. That's a wonderful thing. They do their own version of cosplay. They're painting their face. They're going on it. They're wearing their favorite player's jersey. I mean,
or the fantasy football. It's basically like a Dungeons and Dragons type of thing, or a fantasy thing with that.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I have a friend on Facebook. I think he's a game dev or something like that. I just know him as Doc. We met on Facebook, and he seems like he's kind of a big deal in game developer area, but I really couldn't say. But he's Canadian, and he's developing a fantasy hockey miniatures game called Over the Boards, and so it's been interesting to see that because he's very, very into hockey, but he's geeky about it, and so I just wanted to make a point that sports nerds are also, they still qualify, even though we just need to get together.
Mm-hmm.
So like whatever you're nerdy about, just love it.
Yep.
Support other people too.
Exactly.
Talk nerdy to me.
So should probably wrap things up. So we'll start over here. Where can people find you? Where can they buy your stuff?
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, you can find us on Facebook. We're Twice the Dream. I think we're at Twice the Dream Movie, if I recall. And on Instagram, at Twice the Dream Movie. Even if you go on YouTube and you just search Twice the Dream trailer, you will find the movie trailer. And we're hoping to release next spring. So, unfortunately, you'll have to wait till then, unless you're listening to this podcast in 2019, in the future, and you've watched it and hopefully love it.
Time travel.
So, yeah, that's how you can connect with me.
And yeah, you can find more info about me at ChristopherEscalante.com, or just search Christopher Escalante on Google, because I have an awesome name and it's very easy to find. I'm also on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and I know I mentioned, I talked about a lot about music today, but I also do voiceover work for video games, so if you're interested to learn more about that, you can find that on my website, on IMDb, and once again, that's just Christopher Escalante. Thank you.
Or in the show notes.
Same Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, but we have a website, kazha.net, Kazha.net, and our music is on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, or pretty much everywhere. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you, everybody.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.